when the overlooked child still feels invisible. Hello and welcome back. Today I'd like to talk about something many people quietly carry with them into adulthood. The feeling of being overlooked as a child and somehow still feeling invisible even now. You may have grown up, built a life, worked hard, cared for others, raised families, supported people through difficult times. Yet somewhere inside, there can still be a quiet feeling that sits beneath it all. A small question that sometimes rises to the surface. Does anyone really see me? And if that feeling has ever touched your life, you are certainly not alone. Many overlooked children grow up to become capable, thoughtful adults. Yet there can still be a quiet part of them that feels unseen. Today I want to explore why that happens and why it makes so much sense when we understand it gently. The invisible child. Many overlooked children did not grow up in obviously dramatic or chaotic homes. Sometimes there was no shouting, no obvious cruelty, no clear moment where someone could say that is when everything went wrong. Instead, what was often missing was something far quieter: attention, emotional presence, a sense that someone was really noticing the child as an individual person. Children naturally look towards adults around them for signals that they matter. They look for warmth, interest, curiosity about who they are becoming. But when that attention is inconsistent, distracted, or simply absent, the child adapts. Not because the child is weak, but because the nervous system is incredibly intelligent. The child slowly learns something. It is easier if I don't ask for too much. It is safer if I take care of myself. It is better if I don't need attention. And over time, the child becomes very good at being easy to overlook. Not because they want to disappear, but because it became a safer way to exist. Why the nervous system remembers. As adults, we often think that childhood is something we simply leave behind. But the nervous system doesn't work that way. It remembers patterns of safety and patterns of invisibility, not always as clear memories, but as feelings. You might notice this in stubble ways. Perhaps you walk into a room and immediately begin reading everyone else. You sense the mood. You notice who is comfortable and who is not. You adjust yourself quietly so things stay smooth. Many overlooked children become very skilled at this because long ago their nervous system learned that watching others carefully was important. But somewhere in that process, something else quietly happens. Attention goes outward, care goes outward, energy goes outward, and the self slowly fades into the background. Becoming the strong one. This is one of the reasons so many overlooked children grow up to become the strong ones, the carers, the helpers, the people others rely on when life becomes difficult. They develop extraordinary awareness. They become compassionate. They often have a deep sensitivity to the suffering of others. In many ways, these are beautiful qualities, But sometimes hidden beneath that strength, there can be a quiet imbalance. The strong one is always present for everyone else, yet when it comes to their own needs, something inside hesitates. Not because they don't deserve support, but because their nervous system learnt long ago my needs are not the important ones. And so they continue doing what they have always done, holding space for others, listening, helping, supporting, while the overlooked child inside remains very quiet. The quiet loneliness. Many people who are overlooked as children describe a particular kind of loneliness. It's not always about being physically alone. In fact, they may be surrounded by people, family, friends, colleagues, even people who care deeply for them. Yet they can still be a strange feeling underneath everything, a feeling that somehow the real self is always slightly out of view, as though the world sees the capable adult but not always the deeper person underneath. This feeling can be confusing because on the surface life may appear quite stable, but inside the old patterns of invisibility may still quietly echo. The gentle turning point. Healing from the patterns doesn't begin with criticism or blame. It begins much more softly. It begins when we allow ourselves to notice something that may have gone unnoticed for a very long time. That small, quiet part of ourself that once felt invisible. When we begin to acknowledge that child, something remarkable begins to happen. The nervous system slowly recognizes something new. Someone is paying attention here. And that attention does not have to come from outside world. It begins within, through awareness, through gentleness, through learning to pause and ask ourselves simple questions. How am I actually feeling? What do I need today? These small moments of self-attention begin to change something very deep inside. A closing reflection. Perhaps the overlooked child has always walked beside you alone, quietly waiting to be understood. Not demanding attention, not making noise, simply waiting for someone to finally notice them. And when we turn inward that child with gentleness rather than judgment, something remarkable begins to happen. The struggle begins to soften and the nervous system slowly remembers what it feels like to be seen. And sometimes the first person who truly sees that child is the adult you have become. Thank you for sitting with me today. Be gentle with yourself, be kind to yourself, and remember, you matter. So be gentle. Bye for now.